So in this video, we're going to use the principles of counterconditioning and desensitization to stop him from reacting. Now, he is really interested in the cats. And every time the guardian moves back the hallway behind me and opens the baby gate, he hears the sound of it and he wants to run over there. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to use counterconditioning to stop him from reacting. How about we sit up, buddy? I'm not sure if the camera's going to get you from there. We're using a tripod because there's only two of us. All right, so come on, buddy, you can get it. Come on. Come on. All right, come on. Come on, Morgan. Sorry, Morgan, not talking to you. All right, so what I'm doing for this is I'm smashing it and I'm letting him nibble on it in a little bit of pieces. Now, the guardian is standing behind me. In a second, she's going to go down, or she's walking down the hallway kind of progressively because we don't want him to see that she's doing that. When I say a number, she's going to make a tiny little sound on the gate. Now, when you're doing counterconditioning, you need to make sure that you control the elements so that whatever the dog is reactive to is low enough intensity that the dog is not freaking out or reacting to it. So every time I say a number, she's going to make that sound. Before she says the number, I'm going to be delivering the treat. Now, I'm holding a treat. I'm going to smash it. Are you back in place?
Yep.
Okay. So before we do this, in this case, seeing her walk down there and then hearing the sound would be a combination, and that would be too much. So what I'm doing here is I want to have him looking away, and I'm going to say like 19. And so he didn't hear that at all. So next time we're going to be a little bit louder. And when we say 20, so he saw the ears move. He heard that. But he's more interested in the treat because the treat is closer. This time you're going to say it a little bit more intense when we do this for the third time. And the fourth time. So there you saw him stop and he stopped eating the treat. So that was too intense for him. Now I have him on a leash to prevent him from going back there. Come here, buddy. Sit. So right now, all we're doing is we're working on the sound. All right, we're going to do a little bit less than that sound this time for the seventh time. Now, if he puts his paw on top of your arm, pull it away. Don't let him do that. Now, you might have to practice having your dog chew on the treats before you start doing the sound so he gets used to this. All right, so we're going to do this one more time. This time, we're going to click the gate open when we say 19. This time, he continued chewing the treat. Now, this is a progression. It's going to take a little bit of time and practice. Eventually, we're going to maybe do this where he's looking down the hallway. But at first, we're going to have to do this where he will not respond at all to any sound that he hears with the clicking because he's more interested in the treat. And we're associating the clicking with getting a high-value treat. And with enough practice and repetition, he hears that click and he starts to drool just like Pavlov's dog does because he's expecting to get a treat. Now, you do not have to make your dog sit. You don't have to use a leash. I do these two things as my test. If the dog gets up out of their sit, they're telling me that the intensity of the stimulus is too much. And we use the leash to make sure that he can't get to the cats. I don't think he wants to eat the cats from what I've been described, but he really is interested in them. And so those are my tests for counterconditioning just to make sure it's low enough intensity for the dog to be able to handle it. Now, eventually, you want to basically progressively get your dog closer and closer towards the cats. Off camera, I think we're going to have the cats come out. We're going to try to use the same principle, but that probably is going to be too intense for him. And once he sees the cat and hears it and smells it, it's in the room, it's close by, it's going to be too much for him to deal with. So when we do start visually introducing the cat, we might have Morgan here, or not Morgan, sorry Morgan, when you're watching this. We might have Reggie here, so he can look down the hallway, and somebody with the cat at the very end of the hallway. So we're going to lower the intensity by increasing the distance, lowering the sound, or slowing down the speed. So we want to do that until the dog's what we call sub-threshold, and he can sit and watch the dog and watch the person with the cat and continue eating the treat. Once we get to that point, then the person with the cat would take one step closer when we repeat the process, or the person with the dog would get one step closer to the cat. This is a progression. It might take 2 weeks, and you might only be able to move one step each time that you do this. Or might have to do a couple times in this position, then a couple times in this position. Go at your dog's pace. If your dog whines, whimpers, barks, lunges, reacts, you push too far, too fast. The whole point of this is to make it so progressive and so gradual that he no longer reacts for that. Isn't that right, Reggie? All right, let's do one more. There you go. And just a couple more sounds with it. And open and close it a couple times. And a little bit louder. So you see that he's stopping, but he's still interested in the treat. Once you practice this for a week or so, she'll be able to make all sorts of crazy sounds back there, and he won't respond to it at all. All right, this is how we can use counter conditioning and desensitization to stop a dog from reacting to his various stimulus.